All right, unlocking the 5 secrets to a successful marriage. We're gonna fly through this really quickly because again, a lot of people struggle. They just struggle. A lot of people are struggling. Yes, inside of marriage itself, the ultimate, a lot of people are struggling. They've been struggling inside of marriage for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Some people will struggle for a lifetime, especially if they're coming from that era, that time. Some people will struggle a lot. So, but yes, I want to talk about the 5 secrets really quickly to a successful marriage. Please do always let me know if my mouth is not syncing with the audio. Please do let me know. I'm still trying to fix that. I want to make sure it's always on point. All right, so the 5 secrets to a successful marriage. What is a successful marriage? First of all, what is a successful marriage, right? In order to consider it a successful marriage, particularly monogamous marriage, right? Both people have to consider it successful. All right. What I noticed a lot of people is that they are often disconnected from the other person. Sometimes they are disconnected for years, sometimes for decades. Like it's just a matter, man will always be man, or a woman will always be woman. So just leave them alone, and then when the person is now pulling the plug and they're now they're surprised, like what happened, like how come, actually the reality is that no, the two parties have to feel like it's successful. And then also another additional layer I want to put on that definition is that if you made it yesterday, if you succeeded yesterday, through yesterday as a married couple, and you both feel like you were successful, that is successful. You don't want to obsess over the past or the future. If you do that, you'll miss out on the present. And that's what a lot of people do. They're obsessed over the past, sometimes for real reasons, for good reasons. Sometimes they have collected woto. So it's easier said than done, but at least if you're aware of what this looks like in real life, maybe you have something, a picture of what you're moving towards. You feel me? So it's very important that we understand, have a definition for yourself. What is a successful marriage? And it's a day-to-day thing. It's an ongoing thing. It's something that you will continue to have to assess over time. Some people say, but well, you should discuss all those things before marriage. Yes, absolutely. But that's not enough. Okay? Discussing stuff before marriage is the bare minimum. Okay? That's the bare minimum you can do if you want to have success in marriage. That's like one of those common sense, obvious things that people just fly around all over the internet and say to themselves, like, before, uncle, of course you should talk before marriage. But what I'm telling you is that what you said before marriage, even if you went through premarital counseling and all that kind of stuff that you said to yourself, you have no idea what you're even talking about. You have no idea. Right? You can't even, like, if you have an idea of what you're going into, you don't. You can't comprehend it. You have to be inside it first, So the closest to people inside of marriage that can really understand, that can comprehend everything to an extent that will be useful for maybe long term is maybe divorcees, because they've seen it, they've been there, done that, right? But if you've never been inside of marriage, yes, you should do premarital counseling, but you should keep an open mind always. So I'm going to give you a quick bonus secret when it comes to successful marriages. You want or creating a successful marriage. You want to keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. Whatever you said before another, keep an open mind, which means you're open to learning more about the dynamics of the relationship, the underlying relationship, and then you're open to continue to discover more about yourself. Yes, it's also self-discovery, and the other person as time goes on. If you don't understand that, you will struggle. You will continue to feel like life is not fair. If life is not fair to all of us, what does that make it fair? Okay? Everybody will claim life is not fair. So what does that make it fair? Okay? So I got a message from from a person, got a message from a person. Let's just call this couple. Let's call them. Let's give them names. Okay, we have Ada and Tunde, right? Ada and Tunde, and everything seemed smooth in the beginning, of course, right? Everything they did, the premarital counseling, they had conversations about everything. Okay, they had conversation about everything, but of course, as usual, inevitably, as soon as they got into the marriage, 3 months in, they started facing some challenges. All right, and you committed when you had no idea what those challenges felt like, right? And it wasn't cheating. No, it wasn't cheating. It was something that had to do with our mother passed away. And with regards to navigating life, when that kind of stuff happens, it does shake people up. It shake people up. But there were some events before they got married that always made her question some level of trust and things like that, But they tried their best to, from a theoretical standpoint, to understand what trust was, right? She tried her best, because again, as always, it's only one side you can really control at the end of the day. You can influence more than two sides, but you can only control one side, So, I got that message and I was like, okay, I need to do. I have some other videos around this topic before, but I needed to do a refresh. And that's why we're talking about this right now. Good evening, Ada Colon. Ada Colon, welcome back. Welcome back. Bofresh said, not a supporter, but he has a real good chance to be honest. Low button. And welcome, Love A. Welcome. Welcome to brand new to food as well. Welcome. We're just warming up. We're getting there in a second. Okay. All right. So now with that being said, let's do this. Secret 5 of 5. You need to learn how to celebrate small wins. This is what I meant when I say every day, day to day. Okay. A lot of people, they've set their mind, they are looking at some kind of big picture, romantic, happily ever after, and they are so disconnected from day to day, like small baby steps. This is a major reason why a lot of marriages struggle. This is why somebody's husband is saying, I never feel celebrated. Actually, for the most part, Etunde, like we're talking about that today, right? Etunde would not even know how to express himself. He just knows something is disconnected, but he feels funky every time. As soon as they were 3 months into the marriage, he started to feel funky, like something is off. It's just always like, maybe it looks like he's just always complaining. I'm always trying to appease the person and make the person feel better. And it can be opposite as well, right? But if you just get in the habit of celebrating small wins, right? Small wins. Most people actually, what they do is they celebrate the small disappointments. Right, they spend more time on the disappointment than they spend on any wins. In fact, oftentimes they have never taken the time to even say, "Hey, what is a win? What is a win?" We woke up this morning, we join hands together, we pray together. You give them a kiss. You do whatever you normally do in your culture, right? Small wins. Nice smile. I love the dress. Compliment, small things, whatever that looks like in your particular culture, right? Learn how to celebrate small wins. It goes a long way. You know why? Because when you celebrate small wins, particularly if it's something that will make your partner feel good, nobody else is doing that for them. Remember, I kept talking about what is it that the other person wants as opposed to what I want. What we have in the Indomie generation is people saying, well, that's the bare minimum. You're supposed to pay the bills anyway. That's what we're hearing in the social media Indomie generation. Right? Celebrate small. We just make it a habit. Call her beautiful. Don't have another man calling your wife beautiful before you. Because there's going to be a few men that will call your wife beautiful. Those small things, they go a long way. Those small things are extremely powerful. They are much more powerful than, you guys should love each other. You should never cheat on each other. Celebrating the small wins is much more powerful than any of those craziness that you probably will never get tired of because of the nature of the bass nature of those things. All right. Those things are generally toxic. This is a seductive move. Learning how to celebrate small wins, particularly when the winning is initiated or triggered by your partner, goes a long way. All right. So, and I can't stress it. All right. As you're going through life crisis happens, things happen. Again, they're inevitable. But these are the things that they will continue to have because it makes them feel good. And people can't wait to spend a lot of time around you when they feel good around you. Oh, yes. That's also applicable to your spouse. You didn't know that? Oh, yes, yes. All right. Secret number 4. Focus on supporting your spouse. All right. Now, usually what you will hear this as when it comes to advice in the social media era, Indomie era, is you guys should support each other. No, I need you to remove your focus from that. Again, this is the Prestige family. I need you to pay attention. Remove your focus from supporting each other. Focus on supporting your spouse. Okay? Focus on supporting your spouse. Put all your focus in that direction. If you don't feel good about that person, that they deserve your support in that way, then just honorably back out of the relationship. Once you find yourself in a position where you're now obsessed over we should be supporting each other, right? Or you're craving for the other person to support you, which is it's not necessarily invalid. It's a valid feeling. Usually in that space, things already went left. Things already are too bad, right? And you should be backing off and redirecting all your support to yourself, as opposed to getting obsessed over the other person not supporting you. You should put all that energy in supporting yourself. If you are that drained, then you should put all your support energy in supporting yourself. But you need to focus on supporting your spouse if you want to collaborate with another person to create a successful marriage. Naturally, if they are normal human beings, we're not talking about crazy people here, normal, typical people, that most of those people that end up in divorce court, if they only did small things like this, it will go a long way, right? Naturally, they would want to reciprocate. All right. Secret number 3, build trust from scratch. What's going on, Chidima? Hello. Build trust from scratch. See, what you call trust, when you were in love with that person and you're about to get married and you were preparing for wedding and all that kind of stuff, that's not trust. That's not trust. Whatever that was is not trust. That's just infatuation. All of that is going to get tested. All right. So you need to learn how to build trust from scratch. How do you do that? You start creating new experiences. So you have to learn how to build trust from scratch. If you are coming from like most people in this time and age, if you had bad situations from before, excuse me, so sorry. Hold on 1 second. If you are coming from some kind of breakfast and somebody already took your heart out of your chest and stomp on it, this is especially going to be useful for you. You need to learn how to build trust from scratch with a brand new person. And if you don't trust yourself, you're going to struggle here. Okay? You're going to struggle here. Secret number 2, understanding the value of compromise. Understanding the value of compromise. A lot of people struggle. A lot of people in the Indomie generation, again, they struggle with the idea of compromise. To them, it's like, why am I the only one compromising? If you are the only one compromising, if you truly understand the value of compromise and you're the only one compromising, you will actually celebrate that. Okay? Because you're basically going to make that person's balls yours. Okay? So compromise is not always, it's not an indefinite thing. The very nature of the meaning of compromise means short term. It's basically giving up a little short term so you can win big long term. But a lot of people, they just want to do the simultaneous thing that some of the most popular books out there are pushing. where everybody is just always acting right all the time. That's an oxymoron when you understand the nature of human beings. It doesn't exist. Nobody is going to act right all the time. But if every chance you get, you feel the need to call out the BS of the other person, right? You don't even know how to let some things slide. Just let it slide. Some things, not all things. This really does not have to tamper with boundaries, okay? But it's just to understand the value of compromise, just in general. When you give up a little bit so you can get big time more. See, the nature of marriage is very spiritual. Why? Because we're spiritual beings, right? So it's not when you're stuck on discrete logic, you tend to create terrible results. Okay? Because you can't see that far. But if you can see that far, right? If you have some foresight, you'll be like, hey, human beings, everybody cares about something. And because they care about something, it might just be in your best interest to figure out what is it I care about, right? Put your own on the side, compromise. You put your own feelings on the side for a second. Compromise. Right? A second, 2 days, I don't know, 3 days. For a lifetime. Right? Just make it a habit. Like, there's something that rubs you off the wrong way, but you're able to just stay calm and say, all right, this is an opportunity to compromise. It's an opportunity to compromise. Opportunity to compromise. If you just think of it that way and then start to really understand the value of compromise within the context of marriage, it's great. It's just heavy. It's massive, Because, again, the other person you're dealing with, hopefully, this is a human being, right? They have something they care about. Usually, you will stay calm and find out what they care about. They're taken care of. Naturally, they want to reciprocate. Okay? But naturally, also, if they get caught up in their feelings, they don't want to. And if they're a person that is just a bad, terrible human being, then you should still look at yourself and say, why are you with a bad, terrible human being? Yes, easier said than done, but that's where the work is, okay? Secret number 1, last but not least. This one is not new to you. But you know why it's not new to you? Because you're probably not paying attention to the first word. Effective. Communication. Effective communication. Okay? If you're not paying attention to the first word, if your attention went straight for the second one, it's probably not new to you, right? And usually what people means by that is just talking. They're just doing talking. Let's just sit down and talk. Talk about everything. Never mind understanding. This is duty, not responsibility. Sorry, it's duty, it's responsibility. It's not good feel, not happiness. Anytime you're actively engaged in telling a partner that it's not about happiness, you are anti-seductive, you have bad behaviors, you're not going to create any good result. They're not going to know why. They just want to be away from you. They're not going to be able to put it into words. Why? Because they're caught up in their emotions. They don't know why. They just don't feel good around you. Because you're stuck on responsibility. We're just supposed to be here and be soldiers, zombies for the rest of our lives. Even you do not operate that way. In fact, your obsession with making sure everybody does not tag on to happiness in marriage is basically literally coming out of your feelings. Right? So the point here is that effective communication is what we're talking about. Always seeking to be on the same page. Always seeking to be on the same page with your partner. Just actively always open. Keep an open mind. You need to push in that direction because naturally, if something rubs you off, you will speak up anyway. But you need to speak up to yourself more like, hey, chill. Try to understand where they're coming from. That is already communication. That's 80% of communication. Trying to understand where the other person is coming from. Most people, when they start communication, they're just talking about talking. And what they end up doing is they end up arguing. And nobody gets anywhere. All right? There are people who have been married for 12, 11 years, and they're still struggling with this. And what they end up doing, they start accusing the other partner. They start accusing their partner of not wanting to communicate. Maybe the person tends to shut down, okay? Or the person just talk out of their ass because they already feel attacked when they're talking like that. and you're not able to calm down and say this person is feeling attacked, let me back off for a second. Well, that's compromise. Well, why should I compromise? They should also learn how to communicate. Well, you don't know how to communicate, obviously. That's why you're making that accusation. Because if you have the skills of effective communication, when somebody is already feel attacked and they're talking so loud, you'll calm down to see where they're coming from, to read between the lines, to listen to behind the scenes of what they're trying to say, because they're probably not, obviously, they're a terrible communicator, right? But you don't match that energy in that way, because that will basically demonstrate that you're a terrible communicator just as much. So mastering effective communication is the secret number one, not communication. Okay, that's not enough. Why not communication? Because again, most people, when they say communication, they're just talking about basketballs. They don't admit it. It's just what it is. But let me know in the comment area, if you watch this later, on which one of this that you are probably struggling with the most. I would like to hear your take on this, or maybe you want to add to those five secrets right there. Maybe you have something to add. Again, celebrate small wins. Okay, we're talking about unlocking the 5 secrets to a successful marriage. Celebrate small wins, focusing on supporting your spouse, not on supporting each other. That doesn't exist. Focus on supporting your spouse. Build trust from scratch. Understanding the value of compromise. And secret number 1 of 5, effective communication. With that being said, I am ready to get into the story of the day. Let's talk about Baba Tibetan and TB Joshua. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. Turn off your notifications. Not turn off, turn it up. Turn on your notifications so you're notified when we come back live and drop videos, okay? But give me about 20 seconds and we'll get into the story, okay? Hit like, share, subscribe, and I'll be right back in about 20 seconds.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One loving up, we done enough.